Hey guys, I want to tell you about the day I just got done having, but first things first, so as not to be a distraction, I would like to explain what it is that I'm smoking. Like so. There's no tobacco, there's no cannabis, or anything illegal. It's all peppermint, catnip, mullein, and red clover. And these things are supposed to support a sense of brevity and upliftment, clarity of thought, and catnip in particular is really supportive for female bodies. In case you want to know, if you're ever having cramps, smoke some catnip and it will be like a miracle. I'm not having cramps right now, but I've had a day, so I figured why not throw some catnip in the mix. Anyways, so yeah, I've had a hell of a day today, and actually it's been more like a 2-week cycle where I'm actually starting to get incredibly superstitious about all things mechanical, especially cars or vehicles, things you have to depend on to get from point A to point B. The shit's not working, and it's not just my cars, it's like, anyways. Also, thoughts that I have, like, I wonder type thoughts, like, I wonder what it would be like to be in a car wreck, or I wonder what it would be like if my brakes went out. These are the thoughts I think, apparently, when I get bored and I'm driving and I want to wonder about something. But the last 2 weeks, I only have to wonder, and reality makes it so. It's as though I have my own personal genie who is like perhaps a little bit twisted, following me around, just like taking notes on all my I wonder thoughts, and shazamming them into existence. So, needless to say, I've been getting a little bit creeped out by the whole thing. If I haven't stated before, part of my employment includes driving in a very heavily populated city in the U.S. 4 times a day during peak rush hour periods. And I've been doing this since November. And luckily, I have not yet seen anything truly horrendous in traffic until today. One of the nice things about driving is that while it's not a mindless activity, or it shouldn't be a mindless activity, it definitely becomes muscle memory, in that if you're driving over the same roads over and over and over again, you're caught in the same traffic flow pattern. Maybe you see the same people stuck in the same traffic flow patterns day after day after day. It becomes muscle memory, and your brain is allowed a certain amount of space to wander off and think about deeper things, maybe, or wonder about special things, perhaps. And so, on average, when I'm working, I spend at least 6 hours a day in a car. Also known as a vehicle, getting from point A to point B. So I do a lot of thinking about various special things, various deep things. And over the last few months, I've been working on this theory, or superstition, or idea, belief, what have you, And I would like to note that what I'm about to say has probably been said over and over and over again in any of your New Age 101, perhaps, woo-woo mystical books that are pervading our culture as of late. And I try to avoid that. I know my appearance maybe would suggest otherwise, but I really don't go for that kind of like cherry-picking stuff, you know. But reality has shown otherwise to me. I've had experience, direct experience, as they say. So I'm just going to talk about it. I'm going to try not to ramble. I'm going to try not to take too long. Hopefully it all makes sense. I'm trying to tell like 3 stories at once, so I'm not going to hold my breath, but you know. So lately I've been developing this theory that as soon as you form a solid bias or have developed a very great story that perfectly explains everything there is to know about your current experience, everything else in reality, everything else you perceive, be it other people, other entities, other beings, animals, trees, frogs, or spiders even, are obliged to go out of their way to make sure that that bias is reflected accurately. Even if that means they're going to do heinous and gnarly harm not only to themselves, but to the relationship that you happen to be involved with them with. Yes. Why do they do this? Here's the nugget of the whole rambly video that I am trying to undertake right now, is that, and here's where the woo-woo thing happens, but I'm like 100% legit right now, is that everything loves you, everything wants to support your version of reality. It's the only way we can feel connected whilst we're straddling the void. Because for me, it's apparent to me that this whole being alive thing, going and doing and experiencing and learning, is all about straddling the void. You're in it by yourself. There may be others around you who like smell what you're cooking, you know, and can hang for a minute or two. But really, you're the only one that has this particular lens on reality. You're the only one that's telling this particular story. And everything else has no other option but to work its way into that story, come hell or high water. Otherwise, they don't exist. So, as I'm prone to drive a lot and think probably more than I ought to, pardon me a moment, this last week I've been thinking about broken relationships in my life that I recognize the need to reconcile in some way. Even if that's simply admitting that there is indeed a broken relationship occurring in my life. Because I've noticed that a lot of times when I have a broken relationship, I will just put it to bed. I'll pretend the person is dead. I will avoid even the recognition that this relationship is broken. I'll pack my bags and move on, basically. And I don't really want to do that anymore in terms of a few specific broken relationships that I've been hauling around with me for the last, one in particular has been the last as long as I've been alive, without going into too much detail. So, I was thinking about that broken relationship today and wondering to myself, what am I going to do to make this acknowledgement of a broken relationship cogent and also okay. Healing would be great. What would that look like? How would the opportunity even begin to present itself? This particular broken relationship I've been dancing with for most of my life. Not too much novel information has been brought forth, so I feel like it's just the same story over and over and over again. And I have not wanted any part of it since I was like 9. But cycles bring you back, and you learn new things each time you experience the same old thing. And what can you do? But right now in particular, I do not feel it is safe for me to even begin to try and acknowledge or repair the relationship as it stands. There doesn't seem to be space for me to do that. That may be my own ego thinking and getting in the way. But that's where it stands. And so I was trying to work around that today. And on the way home, during rush hour traffic, whilst I was working, which also involves transporting a very special and well-loved and respected individual in my heart from point A to point B, we witnessed the most horrific wreck I've ever seen, right in front of our face. It involved 2 vehicles, both were trucks. One, like, tumbled this way while also spinning this way, like 3 times thrice. And, like, metal, I don't even know how a truck does this, but, like, metal curled itself around the people that were in it and just, like, started tumbling down the road. While the other truck said, like, fuck this, I'm out, and, like, careened off the road into some trees. And this was, like, right in front of my face with a tender, younger version of myself in the passenger seat. Not my own child, but I consider her to be a niece, or if I were 16, my very best friend forever and all times. I thought of the best swear I could possibly say, and I shouted it, and then I was like, call 911! For Christ's sakes, would you call 911, please? And I pulled off the side of the road, stopped, and hopped out and tried to... I thought I was going to stumble up on some bodies and guts and, like, parts strewn up everywhere. And it was weird for my reality because I came single-minded in that moment. I forgot my primary job, which is to safely transport this person from point A to point B. Totally forgot about that and was, like, focused on the people in the cars. I was the first one there. And I've had training in dealing with trauma scenarios. I have some first aid experience and things like that. I've got certifications. I'm legit. But, like, I haven't been tested to that extreme. Anyways, to make a long story short, I'll probably make a whole other video about the wreck itself. It occurred to me very quickly that one of the individuals I was attempting to help was a direct representation of the broken relationship that I was just thinking about and wondering, where is the opportunity to heal this broken relationship or acknowledge it going to happen in my reality? And I found myself being much more compassionate, much more loving, genuinely loving and caring and incredibly protective of this person than I would ever feel comfortable or safe or even authentic feeling towards this person I've had in my life for decades. that's just weird. That's weird. And so I'm still trying to process that. I mean, this just happened like 3 hours ago. But yeah, life for me right now is happening way too fast. I don't have enough time to like sort out what it all means, because I'm convinced that every moment like this means something so deep and profound in my life and in my reality, and in the reality that I somehow must share with other entities who appear to be alive in my reality, that I probably need 6 hours stuck in a vehicle just to sort it all out for myself, or even attempt that. In terms of like the first responders that showed up after myself, I guess I was really disappointed in the system. It seemed as though they automatically labeled certain peoples involved in the wreck as certain lesser than categories of individuals. There didn't seem to be a lot of compassion. It was all like, I don't want to get too thorny about the thing, but like they were all males, and masculine energy just has a totally different perspective than feminine energy does. And for me, it was all about touch. Like, my name is Eva. I'm here in this moment with you. I'm doing what I can until the professionals show up. But like, I'm not going to leave your side, you know? And like, your job right now is to breathe deep and relax. You don't have to go anywhere. Don't try to move. Know that I'm here with you, you know? Just like gentle and compassionate, and very desperately wanting to set up a space of acknowledgement that you're a human and you just had an amazing experience and you're alone in it, but I'm here with you. You know, I'm seeing what has just happened to you. And I'm really wishing that there was a place where like people could go and debrief and talk about what the fuck just happened, you know? Instead of like getting crammed into an emergency room, not knowing where the hell your loved ones are, and like, it was just a hell of a thing, man. And I don't even know what the point of this whole thing was, this video, except that I'm becoming very aware that the things that I think are becoming manifest. Like, everybody is willing to know their role in my game. Maybe that's a product of being alone out here in the middle of nowhere, being stuck in a car for 6 hours by myself with nothing but my own thoughts to like get through the day. I don't mean to be morose. Usually I'm more like joyful and peppy. But, like, I just saw some real shit. So yeah, so that's it. I guess my own advice for myself, if it applies to you, that's cool, is I can't say guard my thoughts, because it's also evident that I'm thinking these things for a reason, and I'm being shown these nightmares for a reason. But it's just be aware of your story, and maybe like check your facts every now and then, just to make sure that you're not off in the weeds somewhere telling some stupid story that's not even any fun for anybody. You know, like, if people are gonna fucking slam into some trees and tumble around in a metal box just so that they can like drive home a point in your mind, it had better at least be fun or loving or you know, or accepting of the experience, right? Am I right? Am I wrong? Like, you know? So I guess this is all. Holler mahalo if any of this shit made sense. I did the best I could with what I had. So be it. There it is.